What I'd like to do today, my goal today, is to arm you with enough information to spot a scam. So the next time you receive a suspicious phone call, an email, or a text message, you know what to do. You don't respond to that. You hang up on that person. We'll just go over some of the scams that we see. You'll hear me refer to gift cards a lot with these scams because that's easy money. It's easy for you to go out to any department store, any major retailer, and purchase a gift card, and that's what the scammers want. They want you to purchase the gift card and read those gift card numbers off from the back of the card. So let's get started. So we're going to talk about some of the common scams. The first one is the fake virus ransomware scam. How many of you have received a pop-up on your computer that says, like, flashing warning, warning, your computer has been infected with a virus? I see some people with their hands up and heads nodding. That's a real popular one that we see. Or have you received a phone call that your computer has a virus? The funny thing, yep, and I've seen both, I've had both. The funny thing with that is they don't have your information. They don't have your name. All they have is your phone number. And what they want you to do is they want you to click on a link. So they'll say, in order to help you with this virus, we're going to send you a link. Give us your email address. So you send them, or you tell them your email address. They email you a link that you click on. And this link allows them remote access into your computer. Has anyone done that before? Clicked on the link? No, I hope not. Just do not click on it. Because what will happen is once you click on that link, you're allowing remote access. You allow that individual that you have no idea who that is into your computer. So they've gained access into your computer. They have access to everything on your computer. They have access to all your files. They have access to your pictures. They have access to your online banking. They say, okay, well, in order to help you, we're going to install an antivirus software. So, we're going to go ahead and do that for the low price of, say, $199. And this will be a year subscription. We've seen people pay upwards of thousands of dollars to get their computer cleaned by these people. So you allow them to do that. You pay the money. So now they're into your computer. What they've done, they've installed viruses on your computer.
Let me call you back.
They've installed keyloggers so they can monitor anything that you're doing on your computer. You go into your online banking, they can see what your user ID and your password are. So in order for that to be cleaned, you actually need to take your computer into a reputable merchant and have a diagnostic report ran to get that virus off there, to get them out of your computer. If you call SEFQ and let us know that that's what happened, the first thing we do is we instruct you, unplug your computer. Unplug it, turn it off. Do not allow them to have any access to that device. Then we tell you you have to have your account transferred to a new number. So you have to come in, get a new savings account number. Then, as I said, you have to have your computer cleaned, and we need that diagnostic report because in order to re-enable your online banking access, we have to have proof that you no longer have viruses on your computer. So then the ransomware scam kind of goes along with it, because once you allow them in your computer and they have access to all your files, they can take over your computer. They can tell you, we're going to shut down your computer, we're going to delete all of your pictures unless you pay us so much money. So they ransom your computer. Just if you receive a pop-up, ignore it. If you receive a phone call, we always say just screen your calls. Don't answer the phone. Let it go to voicemail. be like your kids or your grandkids do, see what number it is and just ignore it. None of our kids do that, I'm sure. But go ahead and just don't respond to any emails that, like I said, just take your computer in, get it cleaned, make sure that there's nothing harmful on it. The next thing we're going to talk about is the romance friend scam. This one, I don't have a favorite scam, but this would be the least favorite of any scam. Because this scam not only takes you financially, but it deals with emotions as well. So this scam usually occurs by meeting someone online. So if you're on a dating site, or maybe you just meet a friend, you're playing Words with Friends, and you meet someone and they say, hey, let's take this offline, go to a chat room, or give me your phone number so we can text. So you develop a relationship with this person. And this can go on for months or years. And then that person starts asking you for money. There's some type of maybe a health issue or a death in their family that they need money. And they really want to come see you, but they don't have the money to because they've got to deal with a death in the family. For an example of this, just last week, I had a gentleman that he had a $5,000 balance on his credit card. He had a check or a payment come through for $5,000 that paid off his balance. Then he had withdrawals off his credit card that were done in one of the SEFQ offices. So he was taking those withdrawals that came out that he was buying gift cards, and he was reading off the gift card numbers to his fiance. So that $5,000 check came back to us because it was insufficient. There was no money on the other bank account to cover that check. So I had to call him. That's part of my job, is to call these people and ask them, what's going on? We see this large payment. You've got a lot of cash advances. What are you mixed up in? Well, it turns out he had bought the gift cards for his fiance that lived in Paris, France. He had met her through the Christian dating website. When I asked him if he had met her personally, he said, no, just online. So, he had a fiance in Paris that he's never met before. And this happens more often than not. So when I asked him, why was he buying the gift cards, or where did that payment come from? And he said, well, she paid. She gave me the banking account information for that payment. And her mother had passed away. She needed help with the funeral. And he said, I told her I didn't have the money to pay for the funeral. I couldn't help her. So she said, okay, well, I'll send you $5,000 to pay off your credit card so you can go out and buy gift cards. So does that make sense that she doesn't have the money to pay for her mother's funeral, but she has the money to pay for your credit card balance? And he even said, my granddaughter said to me, Grandpa, why is someone paying off your credit card? That just doesn't sound right. Which, it doesn't. You would never accept money from a stranger, because you don't know where that payment's coming from. And you definitely do not, I cannot stress it enough, do not buy gift cards and read off those card numbers to anyone. Heather's going to say the same thing. But once you purchase those gift cards, what you do with those gift cards is up to you. So you walk out of the store with those gift cards. SEFQ cannot help you recover those funds. The store can't help you recover the funds. MasterCard, Visa can't help you. So once you read those numbers off to an individual, that money's gone. I mean, they've got it spent. And usually what the scammers want, they want either Apple gift cards, or Amazon. So I see some people shaking their heads that they're familiar with that. So you have to, ask yourself, why would my fiance in Paris, that her mother just passed away and needs help with the funeral, why is she wanting Apple gift cards to pay for the funeral? I don't know of many, funeral homes that are going to accept Apple gift cards. So, those are just some red flags. But this individual, so that payment was returned. So now on a $5,000 credit line, he owes $10,000 to SEFCU. And he has nothing. He has nothing to show for it because he sent the money to his fiance. So like I said, don't purchase the gift cards. Gift cards should be used for gifts. They're not a form of payment. You can purchase them for a birthday gift, a Christmas gift, something like that, but stay away from, reading those numbers off to a stranger. The next scam is the check overpayment scam. This one I don't deal with a whole lot. I think our electronic member center sees this more. But this is if you're selling something online. So maybe Facebook Marketplace, I don't know if anyone gets on there, or Craigslist if you purchase anything online, or if you sell anything online. But an example of this would be, say, Charlotte is selling maybe a piece of furniture, and she's got it listed for $200. I say, I'm interested in that, Charlotte. I contact her and I say, I want to buy that. So we make an arrangement to have it delivered. I send her a check, and that check is for $2,000. And she calls me and says, hey, Colleen, you sent me a check for $2,000. Our agreement was $200. And I say, oh, yeah. I went to the bank and got a cashier's check. They screwed up. They cut the check for $2,000 instead of $200. I say to her, for your trouble, keep another $100 of it. Just send me $1,700 back. And she's thinking, well, that's a good deal. I was going to buy it for $200, and now I'm getting another $100 back. So, okay, sounds good. So I say, but, instead of sending me the money, actual money or a wire or a check, just go and get gift cards. Get me some Apple gift cards. I was going to buy them anyway. So just get $1,700 worth, and then just read me those numbers. Call me back, read me the numbers. So she does, done deal. She got her $300 back. Well, in a couple of days, guess what happens? That check goes back on her account. It was insufficient, or account closed, or just a bogus check. I actually created that check myself. So there's computer software out there that I could make up that check, and that's what I sent to her. So, her SEFCU calls her, says, Charlotte, we've got this $2,000 check that came back. And she says, oh no, that's not right. And they say, yeah, we're gonna put a hold on your account for $2,000. So now Charlotte's out the piece of furniture and, the money, and I'm sitting over here with $1,700 in Apple gift cards that I've already spent. I've already went on Apple. I purchased a couple iPads. I'm good to go. So if anyone sends you a check for overpayment, be really cautious. Take that check into your financial institution. Bring it into SEFCU. We can check, the routing number. We can see if it's even a valid routing number, if it's a valid financial institution. If it is, we could contact them to see if that check will clear. If it's maybe a check drawn off of Chase, you could take that in to a Chase branch and see if it would clear over the counter. A legitimate person is not going to send an overpayment. They're not going to make that mistake, especially an $1,800 mistake where it should have been $200 and they sent $2,000. So the next scam I'm going to talk about is a smishing scam. And this one I deal with quite a bit in the card services department because it does deal with your credit card and your debit card. I don't know, do any of you have alert text messages set up with your cards? It's really good because if one of your transactions legitimately hits like a fraud rule, then we'll notify you and we'll tell you, we'll ask you, did you do this transaction? You can reply yes or no. Well, the scammers have caught on to that. So what they do is they'll spoof SEFCU's phone number. So they'll send a text message to you, from our 800 number, or the top will say SEFCU. So you think you're getting a message from SEFCU. And it'll say, did you do this transaction at Walmart for $300 in Texas? And you're like, oh my gosh, no, I'm here in Springfield, I'm not in Texas. So it says, respond yes or no. You respond no. Right away, you get a phone call. I'm calling from the security department at your card issuer, and we want to, we see that you didn't do this transaction in Texas, so we need to get your card blocked. And you think you're talking to SEFCU. So they ask you, what's your card number? Your PIN number, the 3-digit number on the back of the card. They may ask you for your online banking information. So you give all that to them because you're talking to SEFCU. Well, once they get that information, what they're doing is they're loading your card onto their device. So say they have an Apple phone. They're loading that card information into Apple Pay. Then they say to you, okay, in order to complete this process, I'm going to send you a one-time passcode. So it's a six-digit number. I need you to read it back to me. You get the text message, the 6-digit code. Even though that text message says, this is your one-time passcode, do not give this information to anyone, even your financial institution. It says it right on there, not to give it out. You read that 6-digit number to that individual. They enter it into Apple Pay. They've tokenized that card onto their device. Within minutes of that happening, then there's another transaction that's done, maybe at Target in Florida, $500. They must be standing there in line. They've got their cart loaded because once they get that tokenized, that transaction comes through. So then you get a call that's really from SEFCU. And we say, hey, we just saw a transaction at Target in Florida, $500. Was this you? And you say, no, it wasn't me. I just talked to you. I told you that the transaction in Texas wasn't me. Well, that wasn't us calling you. So you've just given all of your information to this scammer. They've loaded that card onto their device, and they were able to make that purchase. So the moral of that story is do not give out any information if someone calls you. If I call you and say, this is Colleen from SEFCU, I just want to go over some transactions with you. I'm not going to ask you for your savings account number. I'm not going to ask you for your card number. I know who I'm calling. I've got your information in front of me. If you call us, if you call SEFCU, we are going to have to identify you because we don't know who's on the other end of the line. But, if I call you, if anyone calls you, do not give out any information. If they ask for it, hang up. Call a number, call a reputable number, a valid number. Call the number on the back of your card. That's the best thing, the best way to reach SEFCU. Go into a branch. They can contact the department, like my department, and see if anybody did try to reach out to you. So just keep your information safe. Don't give any information out to anyone, especially if you get that message that says, do not give this out to anyone, even your financial institution. Because, that's what happens. They've got that information. They just need that 6-digit code, and they're good to go. And then fraud alerts, they come from a short code. It's called a short code. It's a 5-digit number. SEFCU's is 72488. So if you are signed up for our automated fraud alerts and we do send you a message, it's going to come from 72488. It's not going to come from our 800-633 number. And most financial institutions, they do have the short code. And what's good about the short code is that can't be spoofed. So yet, they haven't figured out a way, the scammers haven't figured out a way how to spoof that. Does everybody know what spoofing means? Spoofing is when there's an app that they can use to make it look like anybody's phone number, anyone's. So you may have gotten a phone call that's came from your phone number. Has anyone gotten a phone? Yep. Or they'll do it with your area code and then the prefix of your phone number. So they can make it look any way they want. To give you an example of that, when my oldest daughter was, 10 or 11, she came to me with her cell phone and said, "Mom, look, Justin Bieber just texted me." And I was like, okay, sure. So I'm like, how did you do that? And so then she, told me about the app. So, just be careful of the phone number that's coming through. If you don't recognize it, let it go to voicemail. Let them leave a message. If it was someone that you probably don't want to talk to, a scammer or a telemarketer, they're not going to leave a message. So just keep that in mind that phone numbers, even SEFCUs, can be spoofed. So even though it says SEFCUs calling, you still have to be really careful with that. The next one is the tax refund IRS scam. This one, it's usually, I don't know how many of you have had the IRS or Social Security Administration call you. Anybody? And say, you owe back taxes. Usually, actually, they call you, and if it goes to voicemail, if you listen to the voicemail, you'll get a message, and it starts like halfway in to their spiel. And it's a really poorly recorded message, too. But what they're saying is, hey, you owe back taxes. You need to pay us. And they use urgency. You need to pay us right now, or we're going to send the police to your door. And then what they want you to do is either to send cash or go out and buy gift cards, because the IRS, they need those Apple gift cards. So they ask you to do that, or they don't ask you, they tell you to go and do that. We had a gentleman a couple of years ago, and he got the IRS phone call. He was told that he owed $45,000 in back taxes. So he came into the SEFCU office, and on 2 different days, he withdrew $23,000 and then $22,000. He took that $45,000, boxed it up, took it to FedEx, and had it FedExed to an address in Florida that the caller had, the IRS had told him, you need to send this money to Florida. The money was gone. There's no way that we can recoup that money. Once you make that withdrawal, that's up to you, what you do with your funds. We normally do question a large withdrawal. So if you come in and make a large withdrawal, don't be offended, because, we're just here for your best interest. We're looking out for you. When we questioned him, our frontline staff questioned him, he told them that he was taking the money to Florida for vacation. So, he wasn't being honest with us, so we couldn't help him. But then he called a couple days later, and he called, for some reason, he put the FedEx fee on his credit card, and he wanted that fee back, which was like $100 and some, because, he was scammed and the IRS didn't get his money. Well, we couldn't help him with that either, because he sent that money to FedEx, or through FedEx. So, you really, if you get a call from the IRS, they're not going to call you. They're going to send you a letter. From what I've heard, it's several letters before they would actually reach out to you by phone. So again, if you get a call that someone's calling you from the IRS, Social Security Administration, just hang up. If it's on the up and up, they're going to send you a letter. Another scam that's not up there that I wanted to talk about was the grandparent scam, because I know a lot of you are probably grandparents. But that one is, you get a phone call and they say, "Hey, Grandpa." And you say, "Oh, hey, Billy," because you think it's Billy calling. And they say, "Yeah, it's Billy. I need help. I'm in the Mexican jail. I was on vacation and something bad happened and now I'm in jail and I need money." And you being the concerned grandparent, are ready to help them, but you say, "Well, have you talked to your mom or dad?" "Oh, no, don't call them because, I don't want to get in trouble with them. So I just need you to help me." So then what they tell you to do, guess what? Go out and buy gift cards, and I'll need those gift card numbers because that's what the police want. They want me, the Mexican police want me to give gift cards. So, if you do get a call like that, obviously, try calling your grandchild, try their parents, try their siblings. Is Billy was he in Mexico? Well, no, Billy's sitting right here. So, do your research before you, withdraw money, before you purchase gift cards, anything like that. So, just some tips and reminders for you. Be cautious. As we said, when you get a phone call, an email, a text message, really look at it. Stop and think, is this on the up and up? Call someone. Call me. My business card, my phone number, email, they're on that big card. Call me, run it by me. I'd be happy to talk to you. To stop you from, maybe giving your life savings out to someone. And then, don't believe unsolicited communications. So don't, if you get an email, don't click on it. That's the biggest thing. Don't open links or answer calls from unknown phone numbers. I got caught on this a couple weeks ago. My uncle was in the hospital having surgery, and it's my mom's only living relative besides me and my siblings and our kids. But I got a call, and the caller ID said OSF Healthcare. So I kind of freaked out because I thought, oh gosh, did something happen to him? My cousin, didn't want to call my mom, so she's calling me. I looked at my husband and I said, it's OSF. And he looked at me like, okay. So, I answered the phone and I get, "This is Stephanie from Pennsylvania Power, and we'd like to change." And of course, I just lit up and I said, "No, you're not. Remove my phone number from your list. Don't ever call me again." And I hung up on her. But, that's the tactics that they're using. They're spoofing phone numbers that, they know that you're going to probably answer because it was OSF Healthcare. Maybe I had an outstanding bill or someone in the hospital. So they're using those tactics. Make sure you check your account regularly. If you have online banking, if you don't get into it every day, maybe every other day, just check to see what's going on. Is what's going in supposed to be going in? What's coming out is not supposed to be coming out. Check your transaction history. Did you used your card last night at a restaurant? Did that transaction come out for the amount that you wanted it to? Did they add on a little extra tip, or did they add on someone else's meal to your transaction? So just, check those transactions. Don't give device or access to your device online to anyone that you know. So a lot of these romance scams, they do ask for your email or your user ID and your password because they want to get into your account and they want to move funds to their account. So they want to set up external transfers. If you see anything unusual, if you receive a text message, email, phone call, contact SEFCU. Let me know. This is what's going on. This is what I got. What do you think about it? Contact your local police department. They may be getting other complaints about the same thing. There may be the same thing going on, with 5 other people. And again, don't give out any personal information to anyone that you don't know. And then I cannot stress enough, gift cards are not a form of payment. They're for gifts. If you take anything away from today, know that. And like I said, if you have any questions, you've got my name, phone number, email address. Give me a call, send me an email, and I'd be happy to help you.
We have 40 different bureaus, everything from disability rights, military veterans rights, a charitable trust department, and unfortunately consumer fraud is our biggest and most utilized bureau. Last year, in 2021 alone, they saved Illinois consumers over $20 million in consumer fraud when they filed consumer fraud complaints. They took 14,000 consumer fraud complaints, not to mention all the different phone calls, and you can also submit things online. With our offices submitting things online, you can come in person and you can talk to somebody, or you can send things US Postal. I gave you guys one of these. There's hotlines and phone numbers on the back. We have the Attorney General he has 4 major responsibilities. One is that he represents the state as a whole. So if there's an issue with the Illinois Department of Human Rights, he'll represent that entity as a whole, or he doesn't represent individuals. Just sometimes people get the state's attorney's office and the attorney's office confused. I'm going to touch base on common scams. How many of you out there have a landline still? Anybody? Do you guys have answering machines for those landlines? Okay. If you don't have a landline and you have a cell phone, do you have your voicemail set up for your cell phone? Okay. Best secretaries you will ever have. With the scammers that Colleen had touched base on, and what I'm going to be talking about, these people can't get your money and they can't get information if you're not talking to them. That's my main, if you don't take anything else away from this, take that. All they're out for is information and money. They use different tactics. They will manipulate, they will bully, they will, whatever emotion they can invoke in you, they will take that and they will run with it and try and get what they can. So, again, if anything, they can't get your money and they can't get information if you're not talking to them. Your doctors, they will leave you voicemails. Pharmacists, they will leave you voicemails. Important contact people, they will leave you a voicemail. Sometimes people are concerned, I don't want to miss something if my family calls. You can set things up with family friends, have them call once and hang up and call back, so that way you know it's them. So I hope with anything, again, they can't get your information if you're not talking to them. I left this at the table. It talks about 5 different scams that are out there. I'm going to only talk about a couple of them because Colleen touched base on some of them, so I won't go over the repetitiveness. With our office taking consumer complaints, home repair scams were one of the biggest that we had with 2021. Everybody's at home, have nothing else to do, so they're looking around their house. This is a home repair consumer know your rights. This paper is at my table. I didn't give it to everybody. If you hire a contractor, with it being tornado season It's starting to creep up. We call them storm chasers. They will go from neighborhood to neighborhood. You might get approached by somebody at your door. Hey, I was a block over doing work at your neighbor's house. I've got some leftover material. I can see you've got some roof damage. I can fix that for you for hundreds of dollars instead of going through your insurance company, losing the money on the deductible. I can give this to you for cash. Let's work something out. If you hire a contractor, a legitimate contractor, you should be presented with this. It's a 3-day right to cancel. If you're over the age of 65, state legislators have just passed that you have a 15-day right to cancel. They should sign one side, you should sign the other. Everything that you need to know that should be on that is in this paperwork. So red flags, if there's a blank space with how much that you owe them, if they're asking for money up front, big red flag. So just, if anything, if you're a homeowner before you leave, or if you hire a contractor, grab this paper, and if you hire a contractor and you don't get presented with this, that way you can present it to them, and so that way they know that you know your rights. I'm gonna touch base on some of the imposter scams that Colleen had mentioned. Some of as times are changing, she referenced that people are texting, people are emailing. Don't think before you click on that text message, or think before you click on that link. Instead of clicking the link, go to the website directly, or go to, if you have like an Amazon account, go to that Amazon account directly instead of clicking on whatever's being provided. My daughter, she called me and said, hey mom, I've got something being delivered to the house, it's coming on Monday. Okay, fine. When the day that something was delivered, I get a text message from Amazon saying that my account's being suspended for suspicious activity. So knowing what I know and doing what I do, I went to my Amazon account. Nothing had been purchased since May, which is normal for me. Everything was still in my basket, but if I didn't do what I do and the hectic of life and whatnot, I may have clicked on that link. And like Colleen said, malware gets downloaded to your phone. She had referenced the computer. Even unplugging your computer from the wall, because they download a virus, the virus can stay dormant. So you need to have the computer cleaned professionally. There are, does anybody get, I know the other day I got one from the local sheriff's association. Okay, local firefighters, whatever. They don't call people anymore. They will hold fundraisers, and that's a lot of charities. They will hold fundraisers because they want their people to know that the money is going to where it's supposed to go. I'm not going to tell you who you can donate to and who you can't. If you happen to find yourself on the phone with somebody claiming to be a nonprofit organization, ask them to send you paperwork in the mail. If they can't answer basic questions about this charity, hang up on them. They should be able to answer basic questions, and I mean, again, they should answer questions, and then because it's your money, you should be able to dole it how you choose, and that way you don't find yourself, if they're pressuring you, don't donate. We have a charitable trust bureau. Any nonprofit in the state of Illinois has to register with our office. On that blue sheet is our charitable trust department's number. If you find yourself on the phone with somebody claiming to be a nonprofit, you can call our office and double check that. Again, when you answer, you don't owe these people any politeness. You don't owe them any cordial conversation. They're trying to steal from you. So, I mean, you can please just hang up. Yeah. Well, that's another. I have an uncle. He has nothing better to do with his day than mess with these people. I've begged and pleaded. Because I've told him, I'm like, again, when I said like, they can't get information and they can't get your money, he thinks it's funny and he'll tell him, oh, I don't have a computer. Okay, well, you just told him, don't call this guy back about Apple. Don't call him back about Microsoft. Don't call him about anything technological. So there's, again, they can't get information if you're not talking to them. With the grandparent scam that Colleen referenced, all it takes is hello. They know if they're talking to a male or a female, and they'll use when they say hello, your gut reaction is, Billy, is it you? It doesn't sound like you. I was in a car accident, I broke my nose. That's why it doesn't sound like me. Then they'll go on, it varies, but I know if, especially leaning more towards women, they'll play on your emotions. I'm in jail for vehicular manslaughter. I hit a pregnant lady and she miscarried. So, I mean, it's two different stories of a very same thing, but again, they play on your emotions and they're just after your money and they don't care how they get it. So, and all it takes is hello. Like, and that's what's unnerving. You didn't reference healthcare scams, but they're out there. A lot of these people that will call you, they'll say that they're like with Medicare relations, or they'll use the word Medicare to try and draw you in to make you think that they're Medicare affiliated. And they'll try and sell you a back brace, an ankle brace, a knee brace, whatever is ailing you brace. And since it isn't Medicare, it doesn't go through your doctor, it doesn't go through your insurance, there's no pre-authorization, and you're on the hook thousands of dollars for whatever this device is. We have a senior citizen hotline and a healthcare hotline. They can help try and unravel that, but I'm gonna be honest, it's really hard. And sometimes it can be successful, but sometimes it's not, because unfortunately, who you were contacted by is a business, but it's hard because, again, yes, they said they were Medicare relations, not Medicare. So there's unfortunate loopholes, and we can try and help unwind them. So just please be very cautious when you're on the phone with people. Listen to the information they're giving you. Hopefully you let all those calls go to your answering machine. So that way if you want to call these people back, you can. You can always give our office a call and we can help decipher, and we can help, yeah, that scam's been around for a while. Or if this Medicare relations, you can talk to our healthcare department and they can tell you, yeah, that's a legitimate business, but they don't go through Medicare. I'm gonna transition into identity theft for a little bit. We have an identity theft hotline. It was established in 2006. Has anybody checked their credit report recently? Anyway, your credit report has anything that you've ever taken a loan out of, any line of credit, if you've had a background check done for a job, that will be on your credit report. So anything, it's a good idea. This identity theft packet, it's on my table. If you haven't checked your credit report, I would encourage you to do so. You can get, there's phone numbers for the credit reporting agencies in here. Between the 3 credit reporting agencies, you can get a credit report once every 4 months for free. Between the 3 credit reporting agencies, so if you call Equifax and then wait 4 months and call Experian, wait 4 months and call TransUnion, you can get a credit report from each one for free. If you see something on there that does not belong to you, I would encourage you to call our identity theft hotline. We can help try and unwind that for you. Does anybody have you ever placed a fraud alert or a freeze on your credit? Okay, there's a difference. If you feel like you've disclosed this information, your social security number or credit card information to somebody, you can place a fraud alert on your social security number, or you can place a freeze. The fraud alert, it's free, it's good for a year. So keep in mind, you might want to revisit this scenario a year from now, but the fraud alert does just that. It alerts you if someone tries to open up a new line of credit using your information. So you basically get a phone call. Hey, is this you at Victoria's Secret trying to open up a credit card? And you would need to let them know, yes, it's me, or no, it's not. The freeze is indefinite. You have to place it. With the fraud alert, I apologize. You only need to contact one of the agencies. They'll alert the other two. So with the freeze, you need to contact each credit reporting agency individually. They give you a PIN number. And if you need to have that freeze temporarily lifted, you can do so. Otherwise, you can leave it on there and it stays on until you decide to remove it. One small catch, if you lose the PIN numbers and you need to lift the freeze, it's really hard. Like I have a freeze on my credit. I lost my PIN number. And they made me jump through a lot of hoops to prove who I said I was. So I mean, back to my first card loan when I was 18. So but in retrospect, jumping through all those hoops as opposed to trying to unwind. I helped a gentleman when I first started. He was fresh out of college and he was trying to buy a mortgage. He was getting married. Little did he know that someone in California had an entire life using his information. There was a mortgage, multiple vehicles, multiple credit cards, student loans, and this poor gentleman had no clue because he was young. He didn't know anything about it. So just if you haven't looked at your credit report, I would encourage you to do so. Earlier when I referenced our consumer fraud department, has anyone ever filed a consumer complaint with our office before? How our office can help is you can file a consumer complaint. If there's a business that you think has wronged you, overcharged you, you asked for product X and they sent you product Y, instead of taking this person to small claims court, you can file a consumer complaint form. You put your information on this side, their information on that side. We've had people send in multiple pages or give a brief description. What our office does is we informally mediate to the business, and then when they respond, we send you a copy of that response. So is it 100%? No. But a lot of people will try and file a consumer complaint in lieu of taking someone to small claims court. And like I had said before, we saved Illinois consumers over $20 million. So it does work and it can be effective.